OK, let's get some more on this and what next for Erik Ten Hag. We can cross live to Manchester now, join our reporter Ben Ransom. Very good morning to you, Ben. Ten Hag clearly enraged by that penalty decision. Should they feel hard done by?
Yeah, I think it's those words that echo around Salford Quays this morning, clear and obvious. Every single Manchester United fan I've spoken to, all the pundits, I think Gary Neville summed it up really accurately there as well, just staring at that decision and there's an element of disbelief because what we were told at the start of the season, let's not forget, is that referees' call was going to be a thing. Those on-field decisions were going to take more of a precedence, and it was only in the evidence of clear and obvious mistake. And can you look at that decision yesterday and say that David Coote's original decision was an obvious error? Well, certainly pundits, I haven't heard one pundit, I don't think, reflecting on the game suggest that they thought that he was right to overturn his decision. That dynamic with Michael Oliver in Stockley Park as the VAR yesterday as well. So certainly from that point of view, there's plenty of disgruntlement around Manchester about that, because obviously the penalty means more drop points and more pressure on the Manchester United manager.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you mentioned, drop points. It's now 1 win in 8 games. That's in all competitions. Manchester United's leadership have stuck by Ten Hag so far. But how long do you think that will last, Ben?
Yeah, well, look, the hierarchy have been consistent in their message since giving Erik Ten Hag that new contract after he won the FA Cup in the summer. That's that they want him to succeed. But I think there's also an understanding that alongside that, he has to start winning matches. And you're right to point to the stats. They've not been good enough. Look at the league table. It's not good enough. 11 points from 9 games. Their second lowest tally. They're just above Leicester City and Everton in the Premier League table. They've not won a European fixture for more than 12 months. October last year was the last time they won in that competition after a pretty dismal campaign last year, and indeed a pretty stuttering campaign in Europe this year as well. And the way they're missing chances, I know you've just been through some of the highlights from that game, and really, I mean, look, we wouldn't be talking about the VAR decision if Manchester United and their players were able to take their chances. They've got the biggest deficit in terms of actual goals compared to expected goals. I think they should have scored something in the region of 6, maybe more than 6 more goals, just based on the quality of chances that they've created this season. Dalot, Fernandes, Rashford, Højlund, Garnacho, they all came close but were denied yesterday in various ways, and Erik Ten Hag will be scratching his head to try and find a solution to that. But as I say, every time they are in the situation after a weekend on a Monday morning when they've not got the points they would expect to, of course that pressure ramps up. We know Erik Ten Hag does read media reports around his position because he's made that clear. He's referred to them in press conferences, so to see more reports about his future, about possible succession plans, will certainly be frustrating. But certainly the message is still they back the manager, but he has to get results, and you'd imagine that the time to get those results is starting.
I hate to interrupt you, Dermot, but we have certain reason to do so because Manchester United have sacked their manager, Erik Ten Hag. A statement has just appeared on the club's website. It says Erik was appointed in April 2022 and led the club to 2 domestic trophies, winning the Carabao Cup in 2023 and the FA Cup in 2024. And Manchester United say, we are grateful to Erik for everything he has done during his time with us and wish him well for the future. Ruud van Nistelrooy will take charge of the team as interim head coach, supported by the current coaching team, whilst a permanent head coach is recruited. So that 2-1 defeat for Manchester United at London Stadium yesterday, that big late penalty which we've spoken about with Dermot this morning, has led to Erik Ten Hag leaving his post. Sue, I asked the question a little bit earlier on this morning, how much longer can they give it? Clearly no longer.
No, and I was sort of looking at it earlier on in the season. Would it be till Christmas? Let's see where Manchester United are at that point. They've clearly thought that the time's right now. It just seems a bit bizarre that in the summer, they were clearly looking for a new manager. They didn't quite get who they wanted. They thought they'd stick with Ten Hag. They backed him. They give him the money. But now they just think Manchester United, when you look at the position that they're in, 14th in the table, it's just not good enough for a club of that magnitude. And they clearly think that they've got the right person, whether that's Van Nistelrooy in the interim, whether that's moving forward, or they've got somebody else in the background. But yeah, you say it's a surprise at the timing of it. I thought maybe we'd look to see what happened at Chelsea next week before the international break, but they clearly think that the time's right now.